Hello everyone, and welcome to my first YouTube video on this channel. Today what I'm going to go over is what I personally believe needs to be changed about Battlefield 2042. Now, you may agree or disagree with some of my opinions, but that's what my opinion is for, obviously. So obviously, I want to cover the major things. I'm going to cover a couple of bugs that just need to be fixed because they should have been fixed already. So let's jump right into it. Obviously, as you can see on the screen right now, this breakthrough glitch where the game is infinite and it will never start and you have to quit your game. And it's just a real hassle, and I'm not sure how, even through the early access to the game launch on the 19th, it's just something that hasn't been fixed yet. I'm not sure what EA is doing about it, or if there's no possible fix, but I'm sure there is, and they should really fix it because it's gonna agitate a lot of people, especially as they're trying to play with friends and you have to keep leaving and leaving and leaving, jumping and jumping and jumping in. It's just a hassle and no one wants to deal with it. Going on to the next issue, I believe, is basically the not the HUD system, but the vehicle spawn system. I think that the Battlefield 4 system was probably the best in two ways. I believe that vehicles should be preset to a map, meaning that each map has a different set of vehicles that are locked into it, instead of everyone just being able to choose whatever vehicle they want to play in. I just feel like it takes out a lot of the. I get it gives you like more of a sandbox feel, and like you can really do whatever the hell you want. But I just think it makes the maps a lot less balanced, and overall just kind of ruins it, especially since that there's a user cooldown, it looks like, for vehicles instead of a server cooldown, which I get why they did it, so people can't really hog the vehicles, but I don't know, I just think it's kind of dumb. I feel like if someone really wants to play a vehicle that bad, they should be able to, and if they don't want to, or they just want to get it whenever they think they can get it, then they should be able to do that. I think the user cooldown takes away a lot of good players' potential to really use the vehicle they want to and really support their team, where now you have a lot of non-experienced players in those vehicles getting in and just not helping their team win. Staying on the subject of the vehicles, I believe that the vehicles have a lot of problems. I think we'll start with the transport vehicles to start off with. I mean, that buggy is just overpowered. I believe it was a cool idea to put different weaponry on all the transport vehicles. I think it was a neat idea. However, they did not balance it at all. They just threw on all of these different weapons without actually realizing how overpowered each one can be. For example, the 30 mil on the buggy, it's overpowered. It makes no logical sense for it to be on that. It explodes, explosive rounds, it's just brutal. I mean, people just sit up and camp with it because they can. They just can, and they will. I've done it because it's a way to get kills. But at the point, it's just too overpowered. As I spawn in right here, you can see the freaking hovercraft. Now that is even more overpowered than the freaking buggy. I'm almost positive it's bulletproof. You can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but it takes at least 3 rockets to kill. It has a minigun on top, 2 side guns on the top, and I'm pretty sure, let me check, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty customizable too. Yeah, you can put a tow missile on it, you can put, it's It's too much. People just run around the map in this thing, running people over, and they can't kill it. It's way too overpowered. It needs to be nerfed. It's fast, it has lots of weaponry, and it's just overpowered. It needs to be balanced. Moving on to the next thing about the vehicles. I think this vehicle was a good idea. However, it's just that it should be like a flag vehicle. I know, like, in this game, it's like tough to probably do like flag vehicles for like each objective, but that's what that vehicle should really be. It should be a flag-based vehicle where you get a flag and then you can unlock another vehicle to play with on the map for your team. So whoever has that flag will get to use that vehicle. Yeah, I just think that would be the best method for that vehicle. But going into more in depth of the vehicles, I think it shouldn't be level capped. And what I mean by that is that you shouldn't have to level up in the game just to play with a different vehicle. I think that just takes away from the battlefield, like what Battlefield really is. I feel that way about the guns as well, but I'll get into that in a little bit. I feel like people come to Battlefield, I mean, yeah, for the infantry, for the maps, for the destruction, right? But a lot of people come in to play vehicles, and it sucks that they're gonna force you to level up just to play a different vehicle. Especially when it comes to a known trademark vehicle in the Battlefield franchise, for the modern games at least, which is the Little Bird. It sucks that people have to wait to be level 20 just to play it. Yeah, I just don't agree with that logic, what they did. I think that they should all be able to use and you just unlock the weaponry for each vehicle as you would regularly.
Do not assist me!
I think the tanks, although are fun, and are probably the better, like, I mean the main battle tank, but they're fun. I believe they're probably the best vehicle in the game. I think some of the, like, I think the 3 and 4 seats are just kind of like too much for a tank to really have. I understand, like, oh, it's 128 players, like, let's throw more seats in vehicles and let's give them a shit ton of weapons to just obliterate squads with. But I think it's too much armory for a tank. I think the tank's already, it takes what, 3-4 rockets, they blow up depending on sweet spots. I mean, it has a freaking tank round, it has a secondary, it has a gunner on top. Just leave it at that. Just leave it at that. There's no reason for a tank to have a 3rd seat with another weapon that can kill someone. The 4th seat, fine. Like, that's a spotting seat, like, great. Like, that's a cool feature. Like, I'm sure people won't use it that much, as much as they'll use it just for transportation to get to wherever they're going safely. But it's just too much. It's too much for a tank to have. It's too much. The tank should not have a tow missile for the gunner. It's just too much. And here, there you are with the hovercraft again. It's too much. Like that with a 40 mil grenade launcher on top of that thing. He's just camping in it. Just lock down the sector. It's too much. It just has to go, or it has to be severely nerfed. Severely. Continuing with the tanks, I think the tank needs some optics other than zoom. I just feel like that's a lack of customability for the main gun, the main driver. That's my personal opinion. I think that there's a lot of ways to kill the tank. For example, I feel like there's rocket launchers. I mean, there's this specialist that has grenades that locks on the tanks or vehicles in specific. I'll get to that in a second because I have a pretty interesting opinion about that. But I think the Wildcat, I think they could have done a better design for it. I think it kind of looks kind of dumb in my opinion. I also think it's kind of dumb they didn't just add an LAV into the game. Instead, they made the Wildcat, as you upgrade it, to turn from an anti-air machine to have the option to be anti-vehicle. I think they should have just kept one or the other. Because now, what problem we run into? Oh, our Wildcat's playing like an LAV. He's not going to be able to shoot down the air. And then someone else might have to get into another Wildcat instead of getting into a tank. You know, like it's just little things like that. And that's why I believe the system of preset vehicles for each map is just the way to go. Because then you really never run into that. Like, you have a thing for everything. But yeah, I just don't think they should have made that into an LAV also. I think it was kind of stupid. And here's why they probably made it to an LAV is because the actual quote-unquote LAV, which is that vehicle in the trailer with the tracks and the turret on the ice map. Sorry, I'm blanking the name. When I die, I'll check. But that's supposed to be the LAV, I guess. And you unlock that at level 50. And obviously, if you're an LAV player, or like to play an LAV or anti-infantry vehicle, you're gonna want to play in that. Like, it just makes no sense, the logic behind that. And I'm almost positive that thing's gonna be. Personally, I've seen it in a couple of games. I haven't unlocked it yet. I'm not level 50, but from what I've heard, it's overpowered. Probably way better than the tank. It's fast. It's bulletproof. It probably takes a couple rockets, and the armory's probably insane on it. They should have just left all the vehicles down to level 1, made a vehicle for each thing instead of trying to transform vehicles into something they're not. It's just mind-boggling. The same thing for the Wildcat as the tank. Okay, have a gunner on top, fine. Which makes it less of an anti-aircraft gun. Just gonna put that out there. Since it has a gunner seat, I mean, an AA should not have a gunner seat, but whatever. But yeah, fine. Gunner seat, fine, whatever. Big whoop. Third seat, it should not have a fucking motor or any of that crap on the top. It shouldn't have rocket pods. It's just too much. It's too much. Gunner seat, fine. If you want to have 2 extra seats just to lug your squad around, fine. No one's gonna argue with that. But you cannot just put weapons in every single seat and expect people not to get pissed off when they're getting mowed down. Especially by a squad that understands what they're doing. It just makes no sense. Absolutely none. Whatsoever. Moving on to the next. I believe that covers all the vehicles that I'm aware are in the game. But we're going to go over to the air vehicles next. And I'm going to start with the transport chopper. Which in Russia it's called the Hind, or I believe it's called the Hid, something like that. And on the US team, it is called the Osprey. Or it's called something else, but I'm just going to refer to it as the Osprey. I think those vehicles are great. Because it makes sense for those vehicles to carry a lot of people, which it does. It makes sense for the right seat, which is, or the second seat, I'll call it, to have a little gun. That makes sense. It makes sense for the other 2 seats to have guns also. And it makes sense for the last 2 seats to just be hanging off the back. That, like, That makes sense. It's a transport vehicle. You want it to be a little bit protected. You want it to be able to carry people. And it works. It works. I don't think any of the weapons on that are truly overpowered. In my opinion, I think it would take a lot of coordination with a squad to really execute and like be able to go on rampages with it. But I don't think it's crazy overpowered. I think the only problem with that is probably the fact that it is quite tanky. I believe it takes up to 3 rockets, a couple tank shells. I think that's the only flaw with it. Other than that, I think it's a great vehicle, and I think they executed that one greatly. On to the next vehicle, the attack choppers. The attack choppers are interesting vehicles. I don't think any of them are really overpowered, but I think it has its powerful flaws, which makes sense. It's an attack chopper, it's supposed to be pretty powerful. But just starting with the Russian attack chopper, I don't like the fact that you start out with smart rockets. I think that's just stupid. I think they suck. I think that it's going to make people struggle. I think it's going to make people rely on a gunner to get them to their other rockets and such. But that's my opinion. I don't know. I think personally they should start off with the hydropods, which in this case would be the 70mm. But that's my opinion. Because these smart rockets, they suck. They have no velocity. They take like 100 seconds, obviously not literally, but to shoot a second round or volley. I think they are practically impossible to have a pod fight when you're that low of a helicopter. You're just relying on heat seekers, which absolutely sucks. That DICE, EA, they made especially air vehicles, they made them in one specific way, and they're just noob level vehicles. It is constantly a heat seeker fight. And this is because the rockets, first off, especially the smart rockets, it's just impossible to hit the pods on people. It's like, how do I aim these things? Yeah, I let the point up, but they're at a distance. Like, it sucks. It sucks. They need to make the pods better, in the sense of that they actually go where your reticle is. They need to. You can't have a helicopter fight where people are just not knowing how high they have to aim to be able to shoot the other helicopter without heat seekers. It just ruins it. I absolutely hate that I have to get into a helicopter, and if I know that I'm running a tow missile, I'm gonna die because they have heat seekers, and I'm just not gonna be able to land anything unless I get lucky. It's just the facts. You're gonna get chased down by heat seekers night after day. It just sucks. I'm a person who likes the tow missile because it's a skill-based weapon. If you can hit a tow missile launch stuff consistently, you're gonna be amazing at the game. But when you have barely a reticle, or even a sense that the reticle is lined up correctly, it's just impossible, especially with the pods. Battlefield 4 had attack choppers. It's the last game that did. The HUD, the little upside down T, that was a clear indication that your pods would land on either side of the upside down T. It just made sense. You could do long range fights, and you could learn the curve to how to hit your pods from short range to long range. This game, good luck. It's practically impossible from what I understand. Maybe I just suck at the game. I don't know. Another problem, the Russian attack chopper, whose brilliant idea was it to not only give it all the pods, but to put a 30mm cannon on the front of it? Is anyone thinking? Seriously, who looked at that and said that was balanced? Let's put 2 gunner seats on the attack chopper for Russian team. Like, whose bright idea was that? Like, please tell me. I just don't get that. It is not balanced. That 30 mil, I mean, Jesus. And it's just brutal. It is quite brutal. A vehicle should not have 2 gunner seats on it, especially when one of the pilot. No, just no. And the gunner seat, the 30 mil will always, like, the gunner seat will always be a force to be reckoned with. I mean, it just has to be decent. You can't make it not decent, because then if you don't make it decent, then the chopper itself is just a bust. I'm a little disappointed with the attack chopper gunner seat. I think TVs were something people were expecting them to bring back. I think a lot of people were disappointed. I think at the least they could have put some laser guided missiles on there instead of the pilot getting that. I think a lot of people are disappointed with that. But I think ECM should have made a return. I'm not sure why they only included flares. I'm not sure if it's going to come in a later update or not. I think they should have added more to the equipment slot, maybe like an air radar or something, stealth coding, something other than repair system. I don't think I really like the whole, press this button, repair a little bit. I think it's kind of dumb, but I think there's a lot of other avenues they could have went with that. I think camos that was good. I think that was all fine. That was just basically my little piss moment with the attack chopper. We'll just stick with helicopters. I think the Little Bird's okay. I think obviously rocket pods, yeah, they're a little OP. I don't think they're crazy overpowered though. I think the miniguns need to cross so it's easier to hit with them. I don't think the mounted 20 mil cannons are really that overpowered. I think the Little Bird overall is a pretty decent vehicle. I like that there's no heat seekers on it, so you have to actually use skill to actually kill people. Obviously, I believe there should be more countermeasures, fire extinguisher, ECM, maybe something creative, something new. Who knows? Equipment slot, I think they obviously could have added more. I think the commander seat is a good seat to have. I think it brings that level of team play into it. I think this vehicle overall is a pretty good vehicle. I think they could have done more. Now, jets. I have a problem with the jets. I like dogfighting in Battlefield 4, Battlefield 3. I think they dumb these things down so bad that it's just impossible to be a force on the map. And it's just sad. I don't know. I think the jets look cool. I think they sound cool. It just sucks that they just suck. The 25 millimeter cannon, it's okay against vehicles. I think it's definitely great against jets, helicopters. Okay, let me rephrase. I think the cannons are fine. The problem is that you can't brake, like you brake, but you're still going so fast that you can't get a good enough run. Your turning is it's so round, the turning, that the time you turn, you either A, lost the target you're looking for, or B, they healed more, or they're just going to lock onto you, or like they're just not going to be able to hit them. And this leads you to what? Use lock-ons. It's just, no. Like, people should, like, if you want to use lock-ons, fine. I think it's a less skilled way to play. I think, if I had my way, everyone would use air-to-ground missiles to help support your team on the ground. Obviously, these are probably these are just active radar missiles. That's going to be annoying just for, like, people to mess around with. People are going to get annoying with that. Especially in the fact that you're just going so fast that you can barely even lock on to get a hit. Like, people are just going to be flying full afterburner. You're going so fast. You're going to spam these things, lock, hit, whatever. And then the same gripe. I think equipment slot 1 needs more countermeasures. I think they could have done more with their repair system. I think they need, for helicopters and jets, I think they need a complete rework of mechanics. I mean, I can show an example now. I have the jet, but like you go very fast in this game. Obviously, the jet looks very cool, but look at this. There's no kind of speed control, nothing. Like, oh yeah, let me hold afterburner to really turn. Like, that's just not how that works. And you black out if you do that. Like, no, see, like, this is just brutal. Brutal. It's just brutal. I mean, like, and now you just get locked on, you pop ECMs, or not ECMs, but whatever. I think if you rear cam, I'm not sure why you're. See, I didn't even pop flares there. There's a bug in the game where the flares, they pop twice for some reason, and you keep hearing the lock-on noises, especially when the helicopter. I'm not getting locked on, but it just makes a sound when a missile is locking onto me and coming for me. In the jet, I've noticed that I'll shoot heat seekers at another jet, and they'll pop flares, and they'll be flying, and I randomly get the hit notification that I hit them because the rockets came all the way back from space and hit them, which is just dumb. But yeah, that's just my opinion with the jet. I think they need a complete rework with all the air vehicle mechanics to make them better. I think the HUD for the jet is fine. I think the attack heli HUD needs work. Yeah, other than that, I think that's all I really covered for air vehicles. And I think I covered all the vehicles in general. But, so yeah, we'll move on to the next problem in the game, which is some of the infantry stuff. Now, obviously, in Portal, we have the option to play Battlefield 3, Bad Company 2, 1942, and 2042, which is lovely. I love that. And I'll cover Portal in a little bit. But as far as gunplay goes, if you play Battlefield 3 and you play 2042, the gunplay is night and day for those games. I mean, it is night and day. Battlefield 3 gunplay just feels way better. And I can guarantee you, if you made a server where you can slide and stuff in Battlefield 3 with those guns, it'd be crazy better than what we have in 2042. For some reason, the guns, I just feel like they don't handle that great in 2042. And I just feel like they don't handle as good as they do in the Battlefield 3 game. I think that has a lot to do with Bloom. I think it has a lot to do with the way they made the weapons work. But I just feel like if you go into each mode and you really like take a second to use each gun, I think you'll definitely notice it. But the mechanic was of infantry. I like the way the movement is. I think it's all great. I think that they copied COD in a sense, obviously. I think that's fine. I think it appeals to a lot of players. And I'm not complaining about that. I think it's great. I think it feels good. I just don't like the way the weapons feel. That's my only complaint about the infantry, mechanic-wise. I think that a lot more guns are needed in the game. I'm not a fan of the fact that guns are unlocked by level. I think they should have, quite honestly, kept the way class. I get the added specialist, whatever. My own personal opinion, I don't like it. I think the class system, it encourages more team play. I like the 2 gadgets. I think it encourages way more team play. People rely on for ammo. People play LMGs, medics. I think a lot of people not reviving people because the revive mechanic is just way too long. They need to get rid of the animation. Just throw us defense, let us hit the button so it picks them up with half health, and if you want to sit there and revive them with the most health, let them do that, like in Battlefield 4. I've noticed so many people are complaining that there's no revives in the game. It's because you're gonna go and revive someone and you're gonna get ran up on and killed reviving them. It just discourages a lot of people. But I don't know how they're gonna add weapons into this game. A lot of people think they're gonna add new guns through challenges, like get a frag kill 3 people with SMG in a game, like something like that, which I guess would work. I don't like the fact that guns are unlocked by level instead of just progression through a class set. I mean, they could have just play with assault rifles for X amount of experience, and as you play with the assault rifles, you'll unlock more guns within that class set. I think that's the way to do it. I don't think the level thing is the way to do it, because then, well, I'm playing as assault and I'm just unlocking every single gun in the game. I feel like if you want to unlock different guns within different sets aside doing challenge with guns, I think you should be able to play with that class, and so you can understand the class and get better with it as you play with it more. But I think there's definitely a lack of guns. I'm not sure how they're going to go with that. I think the customization needs to be fixed a little bit. I think this is the whole process to really like click out, click in, click out, click in, click out, click in. I think there's also a lack of accessories to add to your guns. I think they need to add more attachments for sure. I think the HUD, I think you should be able to fix your mini-map, make it bigger, make the squads a little smaller. I think you should be able to make your HUD a little smaller, which I'm sure you probably, I'm not sure about the mini-map, but I think you should probably you can make your HUD a little smaller. I'm not sure, I haven't looked into it really. Yeah, I think that's really gripes I have with the infantry gameplay and stuff like that. I think squads, I've just made a mistake ever since Battlefield 5, making them 4-man squads. I think a lot of people don't just play Battlefield 4 with 4 people. I feel like there's always that odd man out that you're like, oh man, sorry, like you just have to join our game and not be in our squad because we already have 4 people. I think a lot of people play with squads of 5 or bigger. I think that just needs to be addressed. I think it needs to be made bigger, or at least given the option for Portal or custom servers to be able to allow people to make bigger squads. I don't see why that's not implemented in the game already. If people want to have bigger squads, just let them have bigger squads. I'm just not sure the issue around that. I think it sucks that they really screwed the squad system in this game as well. I mean, hell, if I want, I could change squad, right? But that's all I can do. You can't pick a squad. You can't kick people from your squad. You can't make a squad private. What the hell is the point? I'm trying to play with my friends, and you're telling me I can't kick people to make room for them in my squad? That's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. It just sucks. They need to rework the squad system. They need to add a scoreboard to the game, for the love of God. Because, like many, people play FPS shooters to see how good they're doing in the game when the game is complete. No one's, I mean, yeah, I look at the scoreboard mid-game too, to see, oh, like, I'm doing good this game, or I'm doing crap this game. But no one in their right mind is going to remember every single game to pull up the scoreboard right before the game ends just to see what their KD was. And the fact that they removed that feature from the end game screen just sucks. People want to be able to see who the hell raped your team. They want to see who that great player is. They want to see how well they did so they know if what they're doing is right. How do you remove something like that? So critical to an FPS shooter, just beyond me. beyond. I just can't believe that. It's just honestly brutal. And it's just a disgrace to any FPS game that they removed that feature. I think they did excellent with the whole squad stuff. You know, like A squad, whatever, useless stats, whatever. Like, I guess that's cool and stuff. I think it sucks there's no scoreboard in the game. They need to add one immediately, and I think a lot of people are going to get pissed off very fast at that if they don't fix it. There's the facts of that. I think that's basically all I have to say about 2042 as a... oh, no, before I can end this video, they need to fix the goddamn landing shit for the helicopters too. Because, honestly, I should not tap the ground trying to land to repair and blow the fuck up. Just, no, like, no. They need to fix that immediately as well. That is so frustrating. So frustrating. I think the calling system's okay. I'm not the craziest fan of it, but half the time I don't even use it. Just like I don't even use my specialist ability. I think, like, I'm phallic right now. I think it takes way too long, once again, to heal yourself with her ability. Make it short and sweet, or don't add it at all. Just let us use the med packs. Simple solution that works. Don't change what ain't broken. But I think that's my general gripe with the game, the base game right now. I'll make a separate video on Portal and Hazard Zone, because I do have some opinions about that. Obviously, I don't think it's going to be as long as a video as this one is, but I think it's going to do it for this video. So, if you agree with anything I said, or you have a different opinion, you can comment your opinion, and I will definitely make sure to read them and get back to you on that. But I think this game has a shit ton of potential, and it just sucks that they're not living up to it. It really does. Also, I believe... one last thing I want to cover before I end the video for today. I think that they removed the decline revive feature. I think if you don't want to be revived, you can hit decline and you won't be revived. But if you do, you press A, whatever. I think that's a feature, just little things. Cause sometimes people want to die and they don't want to get revived. Like, just let them be able to have that choice. But other than that, if you agree with anything I said, leave a comment. I'll leave my Discord in the bio so you can join that. And I'm on Discord quite frequently. You can talk to me there too, or anyone in my server. But other than that, let me know how you like this video, what you think should be changed about the game, what you like about the game, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you guys, and have a great rest of your day.